Before I begin, is it MAFEX or MAFEX? I have no idea. I'm just gonna use Google Translate to say the word
MAFEX.
Well, I guess it's MAFEX. That intro sounded like a joke, but it's really not, because I really am curious on how to say this brand's name right here. Mostly because it's my first time reviewing one of these figures. It's also my first time reviewing a The Boys figure, and also my first time being sponsored by Vivian Blue. So a lot of firsts in this review. But Vivian Blue is a Japanese-based action figure distributor who has a wide variety of action figures open for purchase. They sent me this Homelander figure, and if you want something for yourself from them, go ahead down below in the description to take 5% off your first order of action figures, anime goods, and more at vivianblue.com with coupon code Jakobe at checkout. Thank you to Vivian Blue for sending this over and sponsoring today's video. Now let's take a look at it. This figure's got some really nice packaging. I like the unique looking layout on the back to showcase the figure and the accessories. But on the inside, of course, we have the Homelander himself. But for the accessories, he's got an alternate chest piece that's super easy to take on and off. 5 sets of extra hands. 3 total heads, being this straight face one already on the figure. This kind of smirking one. And lastly, this screaming laser eyes one, which I think each one of these look great. I've always thought their head sculpts were some of the best out there. Even when ignoring the need for accuracy, I always thought they had some great detail to them. Like I said, this is my first
MAFEX
action figure, so finally seeing the detail they give to these figures in person is so cool. Overall, his suit's design is a very consistent texture all around, with scattered gold armor pieces, all of which
MAFEX
achieved very well. I just want to highlight those little gold armor pieces that I just mentioned. They're all eagle based, and I feel like a detail like this would make or break the overall aesthetic of the figure, and they handled it very well in my opinion, considering the size of the figure. Now, I've had many figures before that have capes, but never one that had a wired cape. The closest I've had to that was my custom Omni-Man that I tried to make a wired cape for, which I also made a tutorial for on my channel. But to have an official figure already come with a cape like that is a positively different thing for me. His cape is more than just a solid color cape, it's meant to look like the American flag, so that's pretty visually cool. But overall, finally having a quality wired cape makes me want to pose it as much as possible, since it'll look way cooler than the ones without the wires in their capes. Much better than a solid piece of plastic. Just to get into some cons, as much as I praise the eagle pieces, they kind of feel like they get in the way of the arm movement. But I'll get into that later in the articulation segment. The chest piece as well, it's cool that it's interchangeable, but at least my copies is pretty loose, and it seems to pop out if I grip the figure wrong, so that's really unfortunate, and of course that would lead to it falling out at some point, maybe even without me knowing, so that's just something to watch out for. Something else I feel like could have been improved on my copy is the paint, the gold paint specifically used for the lining. Now, they are super thin areas to paint, so I can't completely blame them if it's not the cleanest. It's just a little gripe I wanted to point out since I'm on the cons list. But the details like these stars on his chest and the cape areas came out good, but I'm pretty sure that's printed, so I shouldn't really be comparing those little 2 areas. So for Homelander's articulation, his head does go on a dumbbell joint, and if you take the head off, you can see there is a little bit of neck movement, very minimal, but it is there. He has a butterfly joint here, and the eagle shoulder pads do move up and down to allow the arm to move, but it is still kind of hindered when you try to move it upwards like this. There's a bicep swivel here, double jointed elbows, wrist rotation of course, and side to side wrist movement. There's a diaphragm joint here that is kind of crunchy on my copy, as well as one for the waist, which the two combine for a forward motion like this and a backwards motion like that. The leg motion kicks up this far and kicks back this far. There's no thigh cut to be seen, but it does kind of rotate there. There's a double jointed knee that works pretty well. No boot rotation. The foot goes down this much from the ankle and goes up this much from the ankle, with the toes pointing just a little bit upwards. And of course, like I said earlier, the cape is made of cloth goods, so that can move however you want it to. This figure is awesome, and I'm so happy I finally got to mess around with a
MAFEX
figure finally for you guys. And that's all thanks to Vivian Blue's sponsorship, so be sure to check them out in the description through my affiliate link. And honestly, what is it, MAFEX or MAFEX? I need to settle this in my mind. I know Google Translate said that, but there have been so many people in the past that I swear have said MAFEX, and I haven't heard MAFEX until recently. So just let me know in the comments. And on top of that, subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys in the next video.